Welcome back to our YouTube channel, ArchiCAD with John. Please like our videos, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Today, I am going to take you through an architectural drawing presentation which is specifically going to be looking at drainage. So we are going to be tackling different questions about drainage, as we are going to see in the upcoming videos. So let's start with this one. Question number 1. It says, discuss the important things you need to study while preparing a drainage plan for a house. Use graphical illustrations to support your ideas. Make an illustration for a plan of a simple house drainage. That's our question. Let's start. So this knowledge, specifically, I am targeting the graduates who have completed, and even those who are still at the universities, where this information is going to help them to tackle other related questions about drainage. So, to repeat the question once again, discuss the important things you need to study while preparing a drainage plan for a house. Use graphical illustrations to support your ideas. Then make an illustration for a drainage plan of a simple house. That's our question, which is already on the screen. So this question, I have started by listing those important things that you need to know before preparing a drainage plan. What are those things that one needs to know? On the screen, it's our drainage plan. So here we have the important things to study while preparing a drainage plan. 1 is topography and slope, roof drainage, drainage patterns and flow, water table and soil conditions, the local regulation and codes, site grading and elevation, permeable surfaces, foundation and footings, maintenance plan, then utility connections. Those are some of the important things we need to study or we need to know before preparing a drainage plan. So when we look at number 1, we have topography and slope. One should understand the natural slope of land to determine the flow of water. Of course, you cannot wake up one day and start preparing a drainage plan when you don't know the natural slope of the site where your house is going to be located. You have to study the slope and the topography of the site. So after studying that is going to help you to ensure that water flows away from the house and towards appropriate drainage outlets. How can this be achieved? Of course, this one can only be achieved after doing a site visit. So meaning one should make a site visit before you start or before you produce a drawing for a client. There is no way you will know the slope and topography of the site before you visit the site. So site visitation or site visit or reconnaissance is an important factor to consider before you start drawing a house plan for a client. A minimum slope of 1%, that's an eighth per foot, is recommended for proper drainage. The drainage plan should work with the existing landscape to ensure water flows away from the house and towards an appropriate drainage outlet. Next, we shall look at the important thing number 2, which is roof drainage. Depending on the plan you're going to design, you must consider how, depending on the type of the roof, let it be the flat roof, hipped, or gable, one should know how water, which is rainwater, would be drained off from that roof. How is that achieved? Proper management of rainwater from the roof is essential. That's what I've just explained. Study the roof size, shape, material to determine the amount of rainfall runoff. Meaning, if you don't know the type of the roof you're going to design, meaning someone may not be knowing what he or she is doing. So one should first know the type of roof he or she is going to design for the client. You know the size, you know the shape. If the curves are involved, you must know how the runoff will be achieved according to that shape. The material, we can talk about the tiled roof. Also under material, that one now in terms of roof covering, we can talk about the galvanized iron sheets. So those things determine the amount of rainfall runoff. For the case of the flat roof, for example, when you look at this flat roof, drainage, it is very important for it, because in case of any poor design of the drainage for the flat roof, there challenges will be encountered in such a way that the house may start leaking in the long run. Then ensure gutters and downspouts are properly sized and positioned. Downspouts should discharge water at least 5 to 10 feet away from the house. So those are the important things to note for the drainage of the roof drainage. Here is a sketch. We have a simple sketch here, or an illustration as per our question, which was with the aid of or use of graphic illustration to support your idea. So we can see this one is talking about the roof drainage. Next, we can talk about the drainage patterns and flow. Under drainage patterns and flow, that one we identify the natural drainage patterns and flow patterns on the site. This will help to determine the best location for drainage features like swales and culverts. Of course, you cannot just come from nowhere and start putting the drainage features like culverts. For example, from what we are seeing on our screen here, for you to achieve this, you must have first studied the drainage pattern and flow of the site. So you start by identifying the natural drainage patterns and flow paths on the site. Then this will help you to determine the best location for drainage features like swales and the culverts. Next, this is an example of the swales. So next we can look at water table and soil conditions. One should understand the local water table and soil conditions to determine the likelihood of water accumulation and potential drainage issues. Meaning, you may find that in the area where your site is located, the water table is a bit high. So if you have not studied the water table of the site and the soil conditions, which involve the soil type, which is it a day clay soil, is it a man-made ground, is it a farm ground? So those are the things that will help you to determine the suitable foundation for your site. So which are also important or will also help in water accumulation and potential drainage issues. It is going to help you to avoid drainage issues after you have identified the water table of the area. That's what we have about the water table. Next, local regulations and codes. Under local regulations and codes, you must familiarize yourself with the local building codes, regulations, and ordinances governing drainage and water management. Meaning, before you design a drainage plan, you must have familiarized yourself with the local building or regulations and codes or ordinances governing drainage and water management. Next, we have permeable surfaces. Is another important feature or thing we need to study before we prepare a drainage plan. Under permeable surfaces, using permeable surfaces like gravel or permeable pavers in driveways and walkways allow water to infiltrate the ground instead of running off into the storm drains. Meaning, you must use permeable surfaces like a gravel and permeable pavers. We can have a look at the illustrations here, trying to illustrate the permeable surface such as pavers. This is how they are placed, or the design of it right away from the base. Have the earthing here, the base level, then the paving layer, which is this one. You can do more research about how they are placed. Then we can also look at another illustration here. This is the cross section. This one was a 3D. So we have the permeable block paving, which is these ones, have the sub base, and then geotextile. That's what we have. Then infiltration, meaning the runoff water, it is able to infiltrate into the ground, which is going to limit on issues of drainage in your compound. Next, we have site grading and elevation. Under site grading and elevation, we have one should analyze sites, elevation and grading to ensure water flow, to ensure that water flows away from the house. A minimum of 5 feet of clearance between the house and surrounding grade is recommended. So for site grading, we recommend a minimum of 5 feet of clearance between the house and the surrounding grade. That's what we recommend. When you look at the illustration here, this is what we have. Then next, that was soil grading and elevation. Next, we can look at the foundation and footing. So under foundation and footing, one should understand the house's foundation type. So before you start designing a plan for a client, you must first understand the type, depth, and footing to ensure proper water management and pavement and prevent drainage to the structure. Then install French drains or perimeter drain system around the foundation, collecting water and directing it towards the suitable collect. So there are several ways we can attain this under foundation and footing. One, you have to understand the foundation type, the depth, and the footing to ensure proper water management and prevent damage to the structure. So how can this be achieved? It can only be achieved in 2 ways. One, either by installing the French drains or parameter drainage system around the foundation, collecting water and directing it towards a suitable outlet. French drain, this is the illustration about French drain. A French drain, the type of drain consisting of excavated trench filled with pervious materials. So they excavate a trench, they fill it with pervious materials such as aggregates, coarse sand, gravel, crushed stone, so whose beds water percolates and exfiltrates into the soil. The advantage of permeable surfacing is that water drains from the surface quickly and reduces on the likelihood of ponding of the surface. So this is another important thing to look at before you design a drainage plan. Another thing, we look at the utility connections. Under utility connections, consider the location of the utility lines such as the water, gas, and sewage pipes when planning the drainage system. So another thing you have to take when you make a site visit, you have to identify those areas, the utility lines such as water, gas, and the sewage pipes when planned, such that when time comes for you to draw the plan, you will know how the connection, how your water will be disposed of from the site, being connected straight away to the sewer line, public sewer line. So this will also help you to avoid the accidental damage during the excavation, because you may find that a certain pipe, let's say maybe for gas, it passed underneath your site, meaning maybe under the process of excavating foundation. To avoid accidental damage during excavation or installation of drainage components, you have to first take a study about the utility lines that you may encounter in your site. That was about the utility lines, utility connections. Then next, here we have an illustration about the utility connections. So meaning someone has carefully excavated without making any damage on the line. And this utility line, as we can see in the illustration which we are having on our screen. So next, maintenance plan. Of course, after everything, you cannot tell me that now you have done your drainage, you have done all your connections, water for drainage, runoff water, surface water, storm water, solid waste, everything, and you just leave it at that. You must come up with a maintenance plan. So one should develop a maintenance plan for drainage system, including regular inspection of gutters, downspouts, and other components to ensure that they are functioning, they are functioning properly and they are free from debris or blockage. For the cases of gutters, you find that for these shorter buildings, the residential only ground floor buildings, they have issues of gutters collecting leaves from taller trees. You may find that nearby the building there are trees which are taller than the building. So those leaves keep on collecting as they accumulate in the gutters, which may cause the blockage of the downspout, meaning time will come and in the way that when it rains, the rainfall water will not run off down the drains because the downspout is blocked. So you must have a maintenance plan whereby you keep regular inspection of your drainage connections to ensure that they are functioning properly and they are free from debris and blockages. I think that's all we had. We are going to be tackling various questions under drainage, as we are going to see. So more questions are coming. That was question number 1. Question number 2 is going to fall in the next video. So depending on our question, which is number 2, we have managed to answer it up to this point here, meaning in our next video we are going to make an illustration for a simple plan of the house drainage. That's what we shall look at in our next video, and then we look at other numbers in the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, like, comment, and share.